cake.
I really want to be in your show. I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan for like years, and I just want to be in your show. Please be in your show.
Do that. Never ever do that. It's just to follow up one of my other videos where I talked about how to get started with acting, and there was a lot of people that had more follow-up questions as far as little things like how do I become SAG, what the hell is SAG, how do I get an agent, where can I find more casting calls, and things of that nature. So I figured I'd make this kind of like a part 2 video to really go more into depth about you see me looking down, it's because I have my phone, I have all the questions kind of just accumulated and with little notes to myself to how to explain everything. One of the questions, and one of those common questions, is how do I get an agent? So I just want to preface this by saying you do not have to have an agent to get started into acting. Typically most actors when starting out don't even have an agent. They're finding projects on their own, they're submitting casting calls on their own, they're doing auditions all by themselves. But as far as if you're looking to get an agent, you definitely want to try to find one within your area or within your region. What I'm definitely going to recommend to you guys is to look up and this is something again my friend Noelle sent me, I freaking love her for that, the little black book for actors. I'm not sure if they have one per city, but I know they have one for Atlanta. So that will give you an entire list of all these different agencies and all these agents you can look at and who's legit and who's not. Which kind of goes into my next question. How do you know if these agents or these agencies are legit? A lot of them already have some type of reputation behind them. There's definitely some that you should look out for. Some of them are definitely scammers, and first and foremost, you want to make sure, as far as like a red flag, is that if they're asking for you to pay fees, if they're asking for you to pay for like a crap ton of classes in order to join their agency. You never have to do that. Usually a lot of times they'll have all of those things, they'll recommend it to you, but it's never like required. So that's something to definitely look out for when it comes to trying to find an agent, seeing if they're legit. And ultimately what you want to do before even thinking about an agent, you want to have your basic materials put together. So your basic materials for acting would be having your headshot, and more than just one, having a multitude of headshots, having a resume put together, having a demo reel. Now I do know of some friends and some agencies that they'll take on talent before they have a lot of these materials. I like this little Bridgerton fit I got on, by the way. Giving period piece, because I would like to be period piece queen, okay? Natalie Portman. Boom. Typically you want to look through the SAG website to see who is SAG affiliated, and those are going to be your best bets. So Jay Purvis, STW is another one. Ursula Wieldman, that was the one I'm trying to think of from my one friend. He does modeling and acting. Stuart Talent is another one. I Know the People Store. Those are just a couple of things that you can look through, but really it's a matter of kind of just giving yourself a formal email blast to all these agencies. Prior to COVID, you have to come in and audition. Now I believe everything is just being done virtually, obviously for the safety of everyone. So kind of take advantage of that. If you're in high school, take advantage of your drama, theater troupe, after school program, or even theater classes, because you can slap those bad boys on an acting resume. So even before you graduate high school, you can at least have a little bit on there until you're able to get bigger gigs and things like that. And anything you do in high school while you're still in that age group, theater groups, you can look around. I feel like in the UK they'd be more popping with this because your theater culture, I feel like, is just so much better. Try to look around in your area. Google is your best friend, and part of your job, if you want to take acting seriously, is that you have to be a researcher. Bloom where you're planted. Don't just think like, oh, I have to make the big jump to LA or I have to make the big jump to New York in order to be successful. No, you can definitely have success immediately where you're from. I mean, case example, for me, I would go back and forth between Atlanta and back in Florida just because I happened to be on a photo shoot with a couple of girls. One of them, actually, her ex, I believe, worked for a production company. She said, well, why don't you try to audition for this? And I got a commercial gig just off of that. Two completely unrelated things. A photo shoot for Depop became a commercial for a university. Another thing too is social media is so important. As much as, especially I feel like older actors kind of want to push it off to the side and not think about it, you have all these media platforms that are able to give you reach and kind of get into these groups and get to networks. I mean, I had one girl, she was so sweet, Amanda. She has her podcast called Amanda's World, and she just found me off of TikTok and wanted to do an interview with me. She's like in cahoots with the casting directors and stuff. Now, obviously, don't bother these people. Don't be like,
Please be in your show. I really want to be in your show. I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan for like years, and I just want to be in your show. Can you please cast me?
do that. Never ever do that. But definitely show genuine support and genuine interest in what they do. And a friend of mine, George, who I was actually in his course as far as how to brand yourself as an actor, is just be aware of who these people are. A lot of people think of the actors and the actresses that are in these shows, but they don't tend to think about the people behind the scenes. Those are the people that you want to do your research on as far as networking as well. A story that I heard from one of my friends where she was on a trip with this guy. It was like a hiking thing where you split off into groups, and there was just her and this one guy. She didn't know she was hiking with Steven Spielberg, and she was an actor. Do you know how amazing the opportunity would have been had she actually known the face to the name and got into a conversation? Do you know the gems of just picking that person's brain? Here's a big one. Do I have to go to a formal school for acting? So when I say acting classes, that's something you can do like on the weekends, after work, after school. You don't ever have to actually get like a degree in film. Case example, my degree isn't, after jumping around a lot, my degree is in communication, but I also have a concentration with some of my extra certifications in support and cybersecurity and things of that nature. So you can literally study whatever you want. There's people that I've met on set that were whole doctors. They were doctors, and they were just like tinkering around on set just because they're like, oh, I do this on the side, or this is like a hobby. Like, you can kind of manipulate things however you want, but you just have to be well aware of the dedication that if you want to do all of these things. So you can, again, it's a lot, but it's possible. One of the directors I worked with, he never went to school for film, and yet he's produced like 3 films now. I think too, younger people, stop doubting yourself, stop worrying about what your friends and other people think, just go for it. That's gonna be probably the biggest thing I want y'all to take away from this. How to get started as a minor. So the big thing really, I feel like minors kind of have it a little bit easier and a little bit harder. You just have to look and see what the work permits are for kids in the entertainment industry. I know in Georgia and Atlanta, they have specific permits that kids and minors have to apply in order to even, before they even get on set, because you have special laws and things that protect you, so you can't get overworked like old hags like me. Because typically, especially if you're in it for the long run, you have days on set where you're working minimum 12 to 16 hour days. Like, they are very, very long days. But if you're a minor, you kind of see how you like it with the shorter days. Now, typically if you're under SAG and more so union work, it can be a little bit shorter, like a typical 8-hour day, but you never know. There could be, may have to do an overnight filming, which is what it sounds like. You were filming overnight, and it could be very irregular hours, and you like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Casting websites I would look into, and take out your notepad, pause, whatever. Actors Access, I already mentioned that. Casting Networks is another one. 800 Casting, I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. Voice 123 and voices.com. Those are if you are looking into voice acting, which I think is a really nice place to start off at too. Talent Soup, Arvold, and lovetoact.com. I hope that kind of helps clarify a little bit more when it comes to acting. I'm more than happy to do a little bit more of a series of this. Just let me know more of what would help you guys, just because it's a lot and I'm learning myself, but I feel like in teaching some things, I'm also reiterating what I've learned thus so far. I'm still a baby, but I feel like I've been able to kind of talk to the right people, and even now I'm getting to the point where I have executive producers for some shows hitting me up and saying like, hey, would you like to be part of this project? So that's how I feel like, all right, I know what I'm getting myself into. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.